The Truman Show, released on June 5th, 1998, is an American satirical science fiction film directed by Peter Weir and written by Andrew Niccol. Starring Jim Carrey as Truman Burbank, the film became both a critical and commercial success, grossing $264 million worldwide and earning numerous award nominations, including 3 Academy Award nominations. On the surface, it's a clever satire about reality television and media manipulation. A man discovers his entire life has been a television show broadcast 24/7 to a global audience, that everyone he knows is an actor, and that he lives inside a massive dome controlled by a godlike producer.
This movie is also very much so an allegory for one's spiritual ascent a- and leading up to the spiritual awakening process, okay? Sorry for what's about to happen here. I have to fix this, which is pretty silly. There we go. All right, let's continue.
But what most viewers miss, and what scholars like Randall Verardi have documented in academic journals, is that The Truman Show is one of the most precise Gnostic allegories ever put to film. A nearly perfect cinematic translation of ancient Christian texts discovered at Nag Hammadi that describe reality as a prison created by a false god.
There's like Yaldabaoth and all this, and the Demiurge and the Archons and all this Gnostic BS. I don't mean to shit on it, you know what I mean? Because I really don't. But I just, what resonates with my soul and my heart and even my mind is Christianity and Catholicism. But that's because I grew up around it my whole life and I was raised. So, of course, and if I was raised, if they ever raised anybody to be Gnostic, I'm sure they'd feel just as strongly about it. So it's about here and it's about this programming that we have, you know. But even this film is touching base on that, where you have to deprogram and you're finding out the truth. And every time you get to this next level of truth, it unwrites all the past that you thought was the truth, which it wasn't. So you're able to decipher, wow, was everything I was living in the past, was that a lie? Well, at least I'm where I am now. But you can keep reaching these new levels. It's not just one and done. And that's the beauty in it. But let's continue.
As divine beings trapped in ignorance, and awakening as the dangerous process of seeing through the illusion and escaping toward true freedom. Every major element of the film, Christoph as the demiurge, Seahaven as the material world prison, Truman's glitches and suspicions as Gnosis beginning,
Wow.
Sylvia as Sophia calling from beyond the dome, and Truman's final crossing of water and ascent through the door as the soul's escape from archontic control, maps directly onto Gnostic cosmology, with such...
This bums me out a bit because I've never seen it. Now I know I have to see it multiple times. I have to watch it. And it stinks because I would want to watch it without knowing any of this, and maybe I could put this together myself. But now I can't do that because it's already been brought to my attention. I've already heard about it through videos on YouTube, so I figured why not react to this? It's not going to ruin it because it's already been ruined for me, so I might as well. But, you know, and hopefully you've seen it already because I don't want to ruin it for you too. But we might as well learn the allegorical undertakings or overall meaning in this script, okay?
precision that it's impossible to believe it's accidental. This isn't subtle symbolism open to interpretation. This is a deliberate, carefully constructed retelling of the Gnostic spiritual narrative for a modern audience. And once you understand the Gnostic framework, you can never watch the film the same way again. If you've never encountered the concept of the demiurge, it's central to Gnostic cosmology and essential to understanding this film. According to Gnostic texts like the Apocryphon of John and the Hypostasis of the Archons, the demiurge, sometimes called Yaldabaoth or Saklas.
And I don't mean to be disrespectful. Hey, if you fully resonate with everything talked about under Gnosis or any of this esoteric stuff, I find a lot of commonalities, or I find a lot of great things as well within that speech, like the overall point of it. I find it beautiful, but some of the other stuff just seems a little mumbo jumbo-y to me. Like I saw one person say, "Oh, this makes way more sense to me than the Bible." And bro, I'm reading through the Bible right now, and I'm just telling you, bro, when you read that and then you read this, it just sounds like potential fact which is the Bible. You're wrestling with your flesh, whether this could be true or metaphorical. But then you get into this other stuff, and somebody really says, "Oh, this resonates with me way more." And they're talking about some snake with a lion's head being like, "Wow, I created Earth." They're like, "Yeah, that resonates with me." So, bro, I'm sorry. I don't mean to be mean or anything. I can't get behind it. You know what I mean? It just seems like the most obvious lie and force. Um, but life is what you make of it, right? So if you think that this world was made to be a prison planet, how's that going to help you? You know, if this is what you genuinely believe in, how is that going to help you? Oh, I'm going to have a better life now because we're all trapped and uh, oh, and now that I know we're trapped, we're free. What? What is this, bro? Smack, bro. Like, I can't, bro. That's why I can get behind the idea of the Old Testament where we had to do animal sacrifices to God just to appease him. But then in the New Testament, he comes into the flesh, right, through his son, and he comes into the flesh and he goes, hold that thought, player. I'm going to die for y'all this time. Not animal sacrifice, human sacrifice, but not even that. God coming down into man and sacrificing for humanity. Just to reiterate how much he loves us. If he created us, he must have had this meticulous um, desired outcome for all of us, right? For humanity. That's a beautiful thing. And that's what I resonate with. But to each their own. Let's continue, though, because there's much beneficial knowledge to be had, gained, and utilized through something like this. That's why I'm reacting to it, not just so I can bash it the whole time, but the Christian slash Catholic in me needed to come out right there because I can't get with it fully, you know?
Is a false god who created the material world. He's not the true transcendent God, but an ignorant, arrogant being who believes himself to be the only God, and who fashioned the physical universe as a prison to trap divine sparks of consciousness within material bodies.
Prison, yeah.
The demiurge in Gnostic teaching is both powerful within his domain.
They believe that if you take the black pill, that afterwards you could be free. Like, accept that everything sucks and everything's all dark and evil, and then you can rise because you have the light within. So it's mixing like spirituality with new age, with mumbo jumbo, with more allegorical writings, but they don't really have the same depth that the Bible or the Quran or all these other holy books, right? Eh, they don't. This doesn't hold a candle to the three Abrahamic religions, in my humble opinion. It makes more sense to people who can't relate to those Abrahamic religions, and that's where they get so many of their people to be like, yeah, you know. But for me, it's too late. You know, God's already got my heart. It's too late.
And fundamentally limited, unable to create true life or genuine freedom, only simulations and control systems that keep souls ignorant of their divine origin and potential for liberation. Christoph, played by Ed Harris, is a perfect cinematic.
Christoph sounds like Christos, which is the sacred secretion, okay? And this Christ oil rises, whatever. Check out my other reaction videos on that.
Representation of this figure. His name itself is a play on Christ plus of, suggesting a false Christ, a counterfeit deity. He's literally called the Creator in the film. He designed Truman's entire world, controls the weather, orchestrates every aspect of Truman's existence, and speaks to Truman from the sky in the film's climactic scene, exactly as a god would. When Truman finally confronts him, Christoph says, "I am the creator," of a television show. But within the dome, within Sea Haven, he is the creator. He made this world. He controls everything in it. He determines what Truman can know and cannot know. And crucially, like the Gnostic demiurge, Christoph believes his creation is good, that he's giving Truman a perfect life, that the prison is actually.
Yeah, what if God was really just some guy at the height of power on planet Earth, and when he dies, a new God is elected and moved in, and it's just somebody who's been elected by the people who vote on that stuff. So everybody who has a vote on that stuff would be very powerful. So then they would make the right decision. This is a good man who would truly be noble. And so imagine that if God was really just the leader in charge, like a king, but like of the whole world, who would all the decisions would go up, up, up to the top, and then it would hit him, and he would be the one saying what to do, and it would go down to his subordinates. Like, it's a hierarchical humanitarian thing, or purely human thing. I don't think that at all. I just got that random thought in my head because I'm watching this. But let's continue before I get off topic, shall we?
Paradise. There's no more truth out there than in my world, Christoph tells Truman. This is the demiurge's fundamental delusion, believing that the limited created realm is all that exists, that there's nothing beyond it worth seeking. The Gnostic texts describe the demiurge declaring, "I am God, and there is no other," ignorant that the true transcendent God.
But there really is, because they have a name for it where all life emanates from. It's almost like a wave. Think of this little circle in the very center, and it gives off 360 degrees. It gives off like this vibration of a wave that ripples out. Those ripples, when they get bigger and longer, can get denser as well, and they materialize as our flesh, as us, right? But from all this source from which all living things emanate from, um, yeah, that's their actual god. They're saying Yalda Baal, they're saying all this stuff, right? And the demiurge, they're saying it's not the prime creator. There is a prime creator. I don't know why the name's not popping up into my head, but yeah, I've seen diagrams for it all the time. Somebody mentioned in the comment. Somebody please finish my thought. I could go Google it right now on my other phone and off camera with my other hand, and then act like I remembered. I'm not going to do that. So let's go.
Exists beyond the material cosmos he created.
So what are your big three emojis?
I think the sparkles, the baby eyes, and the castle.
What does the castle mean?
We cannot spell the word.
Created. Christoph makes the same claim about his constructed reality, insisting to Truman that the real world outside offers nothing better than Sea Haven's controlled perfection. And like the demiurge who becomes violently defensive when humans threaten to escape his control, Christoph literally tries to kill Truman with a manufactured storm when Truman attempts to sail beyond the dome's boundaries. The creator would rather destroy his creation than lose control over it. Sea Haven Island, the idyllic small town where Truman lives, is a cinematic representation of what Gnostics called the Canoma.
That last part he just said, like the guy going out of his way to try to kill Truman so that he wouldn't discover more stuff. That's so true about people who are speaking good things and trying to unify humanity, and then people, certain agencies, kill people for it. Like, I don't know, JFK was speaking against evil and he got assassinated for it. You know, other people too. Martin Luther King Jr. tried bringing people together. They said, "Oh, we can't have that." They had to take him out. Charlie Kirk, same thing. I don't care about your political opinion. Maybe you thought he was a bad guy. I think that's invalid because and incorrect. You know, he was a man who spoke into a microphone. Some people didn't like the things he spoke into the microphone, and he was killed for it. It could have been deeper than that. It could have been because he denied a $15 million deal with taking money from certain people. It rhymes with lay track, if you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, but who knows? I don't know. Because I don't know these people. When we're shown something on a screen, who the heck am I to say, "Oh, well, now I feel mad or I feel sad about this"? I'm allowing some rando person to put this out and control my emotions. That's what I'm doing. So I practice the law of detachment. That's what I would suggest. Anytime you get overwhelmed with the news and the media and everybody killing people and, oh, is it the United States of America or the United States of Israel? You hear all this propaganda, negative, divisive shit. I need you to just close your eyes, smile, and detach. Remember the law of detachment. Everything you see through the screen, it is not you. It is not your life. You are in your own little thing, your own little world, and they're trying to bring the exterior to your interior. Don't let them. That's why it's important to guard your eye gates and ear gates. If you don't have the strength to practice the law of detachment, or not the strength, I should say, the cognizance or the cognitive ability to notice such actions, right? Then what you need to do is maybe avoid it entirely. I don't know. Everybody's different, you know?
The deficiency, the inferior material realm, the prison of flesh and matter. On the surface, Sea Haven appears perfect. Friendly neighbors, white picket fences, 1950s American dream aesthetics, constant sunshine, literally controlled by Christoph. But beneath the perfect surface, it's entirely artificial.
By the way, I had a spiritual awakening, and as I was on my way, my mom was driving me to a doctor's appointment years ago, and on my way, it was like raining, and then once we parked, put the car in park, shut it off, I got out of the car and closed it. Right as I closed the door, it stopped raining. It was rain, then no rain. And I was like, this feels a little like somebody was watching me and went, oh, when he's gonna, it's a storm when he's on his way to the doctors because he's struggling with mental health. But the second he gets out, that's because he's showing the action that he wants to go see the doctor and he's arrived. Then the rain stops and the sun comes out, and oh, that's to signify that you've reached a peaceful moment in life because you went to the doctor. I started thinking like that, bro, because I was so deep in my spiritual awakening, which was brought on by something called the sacred secretion. It's not for everybody, but everybody can do it. You have the power to do it. But some people can't handle the trip. It's a journey, okay? So buckle up if you're going to get into it and research it and attempt it. It's not easy to tap into. I used to think it was easy because I learned about it, and within 90 days, I tapped into it each month, 5 months in a row. But what happened on month number 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, etc.? I couldn't do it anymore, and it's been 3 years, and I haven't done it ever since. So something was lined up perfectly for me to tap in. Maybe you're not meant to always tap in every month for the rest of your life because it feels like super consciousness. But the whole point was to take me for the journey, to remind me of who I am, my true divinity as a human being, as a divine soul. We have that same essence that God has. We are not God, but we emanate and we come from Him, the original energetic system. You understand? So
Constructed, fake. Every person is an actor. Every interaction is scripted. The sky itself is painted. The sun and moon are mechanical lights on tracks. Nothing is real. Nothing is authentic. Everything exists to keep Truman contained, comfortable, and ignorant.
Now, if you just take this exact meaning and you extrapolate it, it's very true because it's not just him. They're just portraying him as one of the chosen ones. There's many chosen ones, right? So there's many of us out here. And this is the same type of stuff that would happen when you start noticing how fake a lot of stuff is. Like, this dude's fake. He's not real. He's not speaking from his heart center or from what his mind's truly thinking. He's merely saying what people want to relate to and feel and think in their own heads. He's thinking 80% or more think this way, so I'm going to regurgitate stuff that they'll line up with. That way I can get their attention. Who cares if you know you can automatically get somebody's attention by pandering to them? That takes the fun out of it anyways. Just be yourself. That's when you'll become a magnet to anything you want. If you have to put this mask on every day, you're a narcissist and you're not an empath. You're disguised as an empath, bro. You know what I mean? But yeah, you just got to learn to take the mask off, crush it under your feet, and say never again, and destroy evil and call it out face to face because God gave us the authority to trample on snakes and scorpions. Woo, they are beneath our feet. The lowest part of our body, they're still beneath that. They can't even look us eye to eye because dude, it's funny, he casts demons out into pigs. Pigs can't look up at the sky. That's kind of ironic. Like, they can't look up and pray to God. Yeah, dude. And then snakes have to crawl on their belly for the rest of their life. God did that to them. So hearing it used that way, like particular verbiage, very cool. And you can understand what they really mean by it.
Gnostic texts describe the material world in strikingly similar terms, as a simulacrum, an imitation of true reality, a cosmic stage set designed by the demiurge.
Looks like we're matching our colors. Look, light blue sky. Some people think because they made the dome firmament, God did that, and he flooded the earth before. He just cracked a little hole in the firmament, and water kept coming in until it flooded everything. Okay? And that's why we probably have waters below now and stuff, because it was from waters above. And here's the thing is the sky during the daytime is baby blue, almost like a perfectly untouched water that's like pure. Like I've been to Aruba and I used to go swimming in like 6 to 10 foot water. When it gets deeper, you can still see the sand at the bottom. That's how beautiful and clean the water is. And it looks kind of like that. It looks a little more green though. It's like bluish green. But imagine if it was these purified waters from a different type of heaven. Dude, I mean, who knows? I haven't gone up there and cracked through the firmament and said, oh, let me take a water sample or see if it's water at all. But when you put a light through water at nighttime, it looks awfully similar to how the stars look in a telescope. So what the heck, bro. So you have to start questioning things. And maybe what they're telling us, science, isn't true. Maybe it's secret societies trying to separate you from God because they're the only ones who should be in accordance with God, and they don't think that we're worth it. Maybe, I don't know. I think you start asking all these things like, what is going on? Then get back to the law of detachment. I'm telling you, because every time I start to obsess, I detach. It's the only reason I stay sane. I would have broken a long time ago.
To keep divine souls trapped in ignorance while believing they're free, and that this limited existence is all there is. The Gospel of Philip states, "The world came about through a mistake. For he who created it wanted to create it imperishable and immortal. He fell short of attaining his desire."
Well,
Sea Haven is exactly this. Christoph's attempt to create a perfect, imperishable world that falls short because it's fundamentally artificial, fundamentally limited, fundamentally a prison despite its pleasant appearance. The dome itself, visible from space in the film, is the material.
I could see people looking at it that way. I just saw a clip of Bill and I, the science guy. I'm pretty sure he said, I want people to understand this in all honesty and fact. We live in a closed circuit system. We're not escaping. There is no going out past space and stuff like that. Not for us, anyways, not unless we can magically break through the firmament. And you don't think people have been trying? It started with the Tower of Babel. Now people are babbling. Now there's different languages because everybody was saying, here, pass this up to there. Here, do this. And we were working together to try to get up to God. And he's like, oh, no, no, that's not why I made y'all and put y'all down there. Nope, nope, chill out. So, and that's the thing. And now we're trying to always go to space. And you don't think they've tried breaking through the firmament? Now they don't even try, and or they at least they don't show us on film because that would be bad for their narrative. You know, if they show us going straight up and it hits the firmament and blows up, and then like the debris falls. That's what it would happen. Why is it when they say we're going to do a test to go on the moon or around the moon? They said right, like the moon's here. We're going to go up past it and then back down. That's the trick, and make sure if you're not paying attention, you might just take it as fact. But bro, when you see it, when we watch what they're recording, it goes up and immediately almost it starts curving and then coming back down and going towards the water. Bro, that looks like this. It looks like an arch. What else is an arch? That dome firmament. So you just gotta be like, what the heck, bro? Like they're getting to your eye gates and ear gates, and when you start taking in all of it as automatic truth, you're not gonna within 3 to 6 weeks or 3 to 6 months, you're not gonna know who the heck you are anymore. So don't let them do that to you. Question everything, even me, anybody. You know, I question God. So are you kidding me?
Boundary.
I know that's some people would argue that's bad to do, and you got to take God at His word. I know, but I struggle because just like I have a carnal body, I have a carnal mind sometimes.
The barrier that marks the edge of the demiurge's domain. In Gnostic cosmology, the material world has boundaries beyond which lie the higher realms of true spiritual reality, the pleroma. Souls trapped in matter must break through the firmament, the barrier separating the material from the spiritual, to escape back to
Okay.
their divine origin.
Okay, I've never thought of it worded that way. He said the firmament, comma, the bridge that separate or whatever the thing that separates the physical from the spiritual. Wow. Because as your soul leaves your body, your soul can get through the firmament and go to the heavens and go to where it originated. That's the real us, is the divine soul within us. You know, if you've ever like talked to yourself in your head, not even like, "Hey, how you doing? I'm good. Thanks for asking." Not like that, but like little things, like you get an idea in your head and something other than that idea said, "No, not now," or whatever it was. That's two. So you're not your thoughts, buddy. You think your thoughts, but you are not them. But quite often, people get tricked, and it's not good. And I'm trying to help to wake people up.
Truman sailing to the edge of the dome and finding a physical wall with a door is a literal visualization of this Gnostic teaching. The material world has an Q edge, a boundary, and beyond it lies something the demiurge doesn't control. In Gnostic texts, the demiurge doesn't maintain control alone.
Kraken is the easiest way to start exploring crypto. Sign up in minutes with no complicated steps and zero stress. Just a few taps and you're ready to go. Trade your way with
Control alone. He creates and employs the archons, rulers, authorities, beings who serve as prison guards, keeping souls trapped in ignorance and identification with the material world. The archons work by deception, by creating repetitive patterns, by keeping humans focused on base concerns, survival, desire, fear, status, that prevent spiritual awakening. They're described as having limited consciousness themselves, as being unable to truly understand spiritual reality, functioning more like programmed beings carrying out the demiurge's will to maintain imprisonment. Every actor in Sea Haven functions precisely as an archon. Meryl, Truman's wife,
I just went through all the letters of the alphabet and I got to the letter M and it popped up in my head right away. The monad, monad. That's what Gnostics believe is the original real God. Everything descends and comes out of the monad and all these ripple effects and stuff. And then created through the monad was other things like Yaldabaoth, the demiurge, this and that. And the hierarchical structure goes as follows, okay? Just like that. But
Laura Linney, isn't his actual partner, but an actress playing a role, maintaining the illusion. And when Truman begins questioning reality, she desperately tries to keep him asleep through manufactured domesticity and literally advertising products to him mid-conversation, keeping him.
this mirrors what they do to us all the time through ads, trying to get us to buy certain things and products or distract us. And we might think it's just, okay, an ad pops up and it's just to get us to want to buy that product. Bro, that's what the people who paid for the ad did, right? But then there's people who work for different teams, if you will, not the opposite, but just completely different teams, meaning the topic is different. And what their goal is to sprinkle things in there, subliminal messaging, to skip your left brain, go right to your subconscious. They are programming you. It's more than just, oh, now I'm going to go get McDonald's because that looked good. They might have put some imagery in there that makes you more prone to violence or depression. You have no idea what type of games these people are playing. These are people in the dark side of the occult, because I love it when they say the occult. Occult, I'm pretty sure means like secret or hidden or stuff that like not out to the public and stuff. So an occulted knowledge, right? So, but knowledge, any type of knowledge, whether it's that or that, it can be used for good or bad. It's just like a sword. You can use it to block and defend if you're getting attacked, or you can use it to do the attacking and hurt somebody. But it's all up to the individual. So when you take this knowledge, take it with a grain of salt, and know that your character has a lot to do with the potential outcome of said issue.
Focused on
or blessing, because it could be good or bad. It doesn't have to be an issue per se.
Material consumption rather than existential questions. Marlin, his best friend, Noah Emmerich, feeds Truman lines written by Christoph designed to reassure him, to make him doubt his own perceptions, to keep him passive. When Truman asks Marlin if he's part of the setup, Marlin responds with Christoph's scripted words. The last thing I'd ever do is lie to you. I mean, think about it, Truman. If everybody is in on it, I'd have to be in on it too. This is archontic gaslighting, making the victim doubt their own emerging awareness by presenting.
I didn't notice the first word he said, archontic gaslighting. I just know gaslighting. I don't know the descriptor that he used.
False sincerity. The archons in Gnostic teaching maintain control not through obvious force, but through subtle manipulation, through keeping the soul comfortable enough not to rebel, while distracted enough never to.
Circus and peanuts, or whatever they said, you know? Just give them circus and peanuts or popcorn or whatever. Just keep the masses entertained, you know? We were so mad. Oh, we got to put their heads on sticks. Everybody who touch kids, we have to stop them. They're in power. Oh, look, the Olympics are on. Oh, look, the Winter Olympics. Oh, the Super Bowl. I guess we're okay. And then now it's the next big thing, which is war, you know? And not to say that the war was intentionally started just to be a distraction. I don't think they went that far, but they're definitely going to use the fact that the war is happening as a distraction. It's called killing two birds with one stone. Something's already happening. You might as well allow that to impact this. Like, that's what they're doing, you know? But it's all, okay, might as well, you know? But you start to see that people can use power for great or for evil. And some of the best people use both, which is sad. But I don't know, what side do you lean towards?
To awaken. Sea Haven's actors do exactly this. They create a pleasant, predictable life for Truman, but one carefully designed to keep him from ever questioning, from ever attempting to leave, from ever discovering his true nature and the reality beyond the dome. The film's inciting incidents, the stage light labeled Sirius falling from the sky, the rain shower that
Don't they have something SIRIUS now?
Only falls on Truman. The radio frequency accidentally picking up Christoph's crew, coordinating Truman's movements. The glimpse of his supposedly dead father. These are what Gnostics would call the call, the moment when cracks appear in the material world's illusion and the soul begins to suspect something is wrong. In Gnostic texts, gnosis, knowledge, doesn't come all at once. It begins with dissonance, with things not adding up.
Do you mean cognitive dissonance? And I don't know, that's usually just holding two or more beliefs that are in direct contradiction to one another. You know what I mean? They'll tell you, oh, you can be Catholic or Christian, and then they'll say, oh, you can't be spiritual, though. Oh, if you look at astrology and say, oh, this might be kind of true about somebody, then you're going to hell, you're not a real Christian. Oh, you can't do this or that. You know, so that they'll immediately try to put you in that state of cognitive dissonance where you're holding two or more beliefs that are supposed to limit or eliminate or contradict one another. But here's the thing, just because I believe that Jesus died on the cross and that he walked God in the flesh, right? And I believe all this stuff, doesn't mean that I'm beholden to every single thing that is textbook or classical Christianity and Catholicism. Because I didn't sign up for all that, buddy. You can't hold me to that. I'm a unique individual, and who the hell are you to come at me sideways over something like that? And it's always the ones who are the defenders of the Matrix who will call you out on that stuff. Oh, you shouldn't have posted something about the year of the fire horse because apparently you say you're a Catholic or Christian. Bro, just stop. Just please. I can't.
With the feeling that something about consensus reality is fundamentally off. The Gospel of Truth describes this as, having become drunk, has turned away from his drunkenness, and having returned to himself. Truman's growing awareness operates exactly this way. He's been drunk on the illusion of Sea Haven his entire life, and the glitches, errors in the simulation, moments when the constructed reality breaks down, begin his process of returning to himself, of remembering he's not actually Truman Burbank, insurance salesman, but something else entirely, someone living in a prison whose...
Yeah, we're never just our first name and last name that we were given. We're never just our occupation or our goals or our hobbies or passions. Those are great things that we're into and that interest us or that help people to better understand us. Or, oh, he was the kid with the blue hat. Or, oh, it was Josh. Or whatever. You get it. Okay, so these are descriptors. These are not full-on identifiers. It's not. Who I really am at the core is so complex and multidimensional, bro. You too. I'm not saying, oh, I'm so special, let me toot my own horn. It's all of us. We are uniquely designed, elevated individuals full of so much greatness and destruction. The power is in your hands. What are you going to do with it?
Walls he's never noticed before.
It's this simple to get your dream body. Get this app called Fitbod and go to workout settings to set your preferences.
Yeah.
If you want to build muscle, choose build muscle mass. If you want to get stronger, choose build strength.
Never noticed
I want to
before.
get in shape.
The film brilliantly shows how gnosis is resisted, not just externally by the archons, but internally by the victim. Truman doesn't immediately believe what he's seeing. He tries to rationalize the glitches, to fit them back into his normal worldview. This is what Gnostics call the spirit of ignorance, the internalized resistance to awakening that makes souls complicit in their own imprisonment. Even after overwhelming evidence, Truman hesitates, fears, considers that maybe Christoph is right and the outside world holds nothing for him. The battle isn't just against external control, it's against the conditioned parts of himself that have learned to love the cage.
Defenders of the Matrix. We are slaves and beholden to the Matrix, but at the same time, we would willingly defend it. That proves that we're not aware. When you start becoming aware, you start realizing, man, I can't do that. That's goofy activity, bro.
Sylvia, played by Natasha McElhone, is the film's representation of Sophia, the divine feminine wisdom, who in Gnostic mythology descends into matter to awaken trapped souls and guide them toward liberation. In the film, Sylvia is the only person in Truman's life who tries to tell him the truth, who attempts to break him out of the illusion. She's not part of Christoph's plan. She's an extra who goes off script, who risks everything to try to awaken Truman before she's forcibly removed from his life. After
Wow.
her removal, Sylvia becomes part of the Free Truman movement in the real world, working to end the show and liberate him. She represents the divine wisdom calling to the trapped soul from beyond the prison, reminding him of a reality and possibility he's forgotten. Her name itself, Sylvia, related
Sylvia starts with S and ends with A. It might even be IA, and then Sophia starts with S, ends with IA. Woo! So
to
similar.
Silva, forest, wood, contrasts with the artificial, constructed space of Sea Haven, representing authentic nature versus manufactured simulation. In
Man,
Gnostic texts, Sophia's role is to awaken the divine sparks trapped in matter by reminding them of their true origin. She calls to them across the boundary separating the pleroma from the material world. Sylvia functions identically. Even though she's removed from Sea Haven, her memory haunts Truman, pulls him, calls him toward the truth and toward
happy holidays, y'all.
escape. She's the presence from beyond the dome, reminding him there is something beyond, that the world Christoph controls isn't all that exists. Truman's escape attempt centers on overcoming his manufactured fear of water. Christoph deliberately created this phobia by staging Truman's father's death in a boating accident when Truman was a child.
To
The trauma was
traumatize him.
designed to ensure Truman would never try to leave the island, that his own fear would serve as invisible bars, more effective than physical walls.
He was
In
Truman-tized.
Gnostic terms, this is how the Archons maintain control, through fear, through trauma.
And they try to do it early on because they can destroy you and you'll grow up and be troubled your whole life. I know people who have had stuff happen to them and they're just different their whole life because somebody went ahead and fucked up everything going on upstairs in their brain. And it's sad. And some of them can fight it and get over it, and some of them don't fight it and just mask it. And it's sad.
Through conditioned responses that make the prisoner collaborate in their own imprisonment. The necessity of crossing water to escape has deep symbolic resonance in Gnostic and broader spiritual traditions. Water represents chaos, the unconscious, the boundary between states of being.
How
To escape Sea Haven, to escape the material prison, Truman must face his deepest fear, must cross the boundary that terrifies him, must risk death. The boat's name is Santa Maria, the Holy Mother, suggesting rebirth imagery, to reach the other side. When Christoph unleashes the storm trying to kill him, Truman literally lashes himself to the mast and screams, "You're gonna have to kill me." This is the soul's defiant refusal to submit to the demiurge's control, the moment when the fear of remaining imprisoned becomes greater than the fear of destruction in attempting escape. The film's climax finds Truman's boat striking the dome's painted wall. He touches the false sky, discovering it's physical, artificial. He finds stairs, a door marked exit. This is one of cinema's most perfect
That
visual
hurts.
metaphors for the Gnostic teaching about escaping the demiurge's realm. The material world has a literal edge.
And this is similar to like escaping the Matrix, like they say, or in the movie The Matrix. They have similar meanings that this world, although we may see it as being beautiful and being grateful for it, they're trying to portray it as something different, something rather lifeless. Because life is found in trees, birds, bees, us, God, nature. But in these dead buildings that are made of dead wood or concrete or whatever, you know, that's it's a little different. They're trying to suggest that it's more than just that. That's level one, is noticing that the difference between living and non-living things. Then stage two would be realizing that that's actually often mirrored in the spiritual realm as well. So like it's all around us, and then the duality, you see good and evil as well too, and that can definitely leave a leave a mark on the individual.
Beyond it lies something else. And there's a door, an exit, a way out for those brave enough to find it and walk through. Christoph makes his final appeal. "You can't leave, Truman. You belong here, with me. Talk to me. Say something." Well, say something, goddammit. You're on television. You're live to the whole world. The demiurge demanding acknowledgement, demanding the soul recognize his authority, begging the escaping consciousness to stay in his control. And Truman's response is perfect. In case I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. He acknowledges Christoph only to dismiss him, using his signature TV phrase one final time before stepping through the door into the unknown, into the real world, into liberation from the only reality he's ever known. What makes The Truman Show a genuine Gnostic allegory, rather than just a film with Gnostic themes, is the precision of the mapping. This isn't loose symbolism. This is point-by-point correspondence between film elements and Gnostic cosmology. Christoph equals demiurge. Sea Haven equals Kanoma/material prison. Actors equals archons. Glitches equals gnosis beginning. Sylvia.
You see this? So he's breaking everything down right now. I think it's great that this gentleman is doing this on this video. He did a great job. So check this kid out. All right. And, but yeah, he's basically breaking. There we go. So yeah, he's basically what the heck? He's basically breaking it down into the phrases and then what it's applying it to. And I think that's a great way to have it make sense at the end of the video.
Equals Sophia. Water crossing equals confronting fear. Dome edge equals boundary of material realm. Door equals exit from Demiurge's domain. The film can be watched and enjoyed without knowing any of this, but once you understand the Gnostic framework, every scene gains additional depth. Every character interaction reveals the spiritual battle between imprisonment and liberation, between remaining comfortable in illusion and risking everything for truth.
This is your brain when you're struggling to focus. And this is your brain when you're in the zone. But getting in the zone and staying there, that feels more like luck than something you can control. So that's why we made Brain FM. It's like a do not disturb setting for your mind, and it gets you focused in just 5 minutes.
For truth. And here's what makes it relevant beyond cinema studies. The Gnostic reading suggests we're all Truman, that consensus reality itself might be a constructed prison we're born into, and conditioned never to question. That the normal world...
See that we're all Truman. If you're a real human being with emotions and a soul, we're all Truman, bro. Yeah.
World might be as artificial and controlled as Sea Haven, and that awakening to this requires seeing glitches in the matrix, listening to voices calling from beyond the system, confronting our conditioned fears, and being willing to walk through doors whose other side we can't see. The film works as allegory because it activates something people recognize, the feeling that something about modern life is fundamentally wrong, that we're trapped in systems we didn't choose and can't see clearly, that liberation would require leaving behind everything familiar and comfortable to pursue a truth we can't yet fully grasp. Scholars have noted the parallel to Plato's Cave. The 2022 Cannes Film Festival website explicitly described the film as a modern reflection of Plato's Cave, which itself...
I've never heard of that. Maybe I did when I was younger, but it didn't stay in my long-term memory, that's for sure. So.
Is a proto-Gnostic allegory about prisoners mistaking shadows for reality. But The Truman Show goes further than Plato by showing the creator of the cave, by naming him Christoph, false Christ, by having him speak from the sky, claiming to offer protection and love, while
It also reminds me of The Wizard of Oz, that man behind the curtain. It was just some face the whole time, right, talking, and then like, oh, the big scary Oz or whatever. Like, wow, dude, okay? Pay attention to what they're really telling us in those movies. These are movies that are exposing a lot of truth, okay? And like I said in the beginning, I don't fully agree with all of Gnosticism or every piece of esoteric information I've come across. Far from it, you know, but I've gravitated towards some things that I do find to be quite accurate and resonate with my soul, my heart, my mind, many things, heart, mind, body, soul. If they line up and they're in accordance with that, then I'll rock with it. And if not, then I would just verbally explain why I don't agree, you know. But this seems like a great movie. I've learned about this movie so much, but I've never seen it. So I'd love to just sit down and watch it through the lens in which now you and I understand it to be. Okay?
Actually maintaining a prison, and by showing the prisoner not just escaping, but recognizing and rejecting the false god's final manipulative appeal. Whether writer Andrew Niccol and director Peter Weir consciously intended all these Gnostic parallels, or whether they emerged from the archetypal depths of the story itself, the result is the same. A film that translates ancient spiritual wisdom into modern cinematic language, making Gnostic teachings about the demiurge, archons, Sophia, and the soul's escape from material imprisonment accessible to millions who would never read the Nag Hammadi texts, but who recognize Truman's journey as somehow reflecting their own. That's what makes it not just good cinema, but genuine allegory. It tells a story that's simultaneously about one man discovering his life is a TV show, and about every human soul discovering the world is a prison, and liberation requires the courage to walk through the door into the unknown, leaving the false creator behind, no matter how.
That's where I disagree. I don't think this is a prison planet. I do think it is a place where we're supposed to learn, and like, so that when we move on, we've already learned many lessons that maybe we had to learn in past life. So that does bring in the potential idea of who knows about reincarnation. Because if we do live in a closed system, that means we're not going out there, right? But does it also mean that the soul can't go through? Because if the soul, the energy that's within us, goes and it goes through there, then it goes to heaven. You know, we can go to heaven, we can go there, then that's real. Or is it a metaphor? So, but many things, many questions arise. But like I said, if you get too in over your head on an idea, practice the law of detachment. That would be my one suggestion. But I hope you learned something from this video. You know, it's your boy Sigma the Stigma, and thanks for stopping by for another episode of Sigma Reacts. Until next time, stay safe, be blessed, and live lavishly. I'm going to see all of you in the next reaction video. And until then, just know that I love you all. Peace, and God bless you.